Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sudheshna Ray and welcome to this conference focusing on women's health and digitalization as the Femtech conference, the first conference about Femtech in India. As the medical director of Gytree and the chairperson of the Femtech collective called the Femtech Next, it has been my endeavor to uplift women's health through various aspects like technology, accessibility, digitalization, simplified delivery, and that's what we are wanting to do through Gayatri and through Femtech. At this conference, we are trying to uh, talk on some very pressing issues about women's health, like working women and their health, like digitalization as the next frontier, like health and economy, health and media. And of course, today what we are going to talk about is building a new dialogue for women's health. And I have an extremely eminent panel of gynecologists to support me today. Dr. Sushmita, she's a prominent face in gynecology and a very strong link between the Indian gynecology and the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists in UK. Then there is Dr. Shivani Sachdev Gour, a very distinguished name in the fertility area of care in India. And we have our young, talented Anshu Baser. She brings in, she shares the passion of, focusing on women's health and bringing it to the forefront through the modern technologies. So welcome all of you, and thank you very much to be a part of this endeavor. So, when we are talking about women's health, like especially in gynecology, we have seen that the care has been different as we started our practice and now. So, over a period of decades, this has been a very changing scenario. So, what do you think, Dr. Susmita, has as a change that you see in your practice, especially related to technology, especially related to attitude? Dr. Susmita.
Uh, I have a mainly city-based practice, Sudeshna, in Kolkata. So I see a lot of youngsters and adolescent people who come in with stuff like PCOS and sexual health and all that, and mental health issues as well. The change that I've noticed is that how shall I put it? The young people are more they don't have too much patience. I'm sure they've never had patience, but now more so than most. So they want everything to be, done immediately and instantly and that sort of thing. So because we are not talking about the health issue and digitalization, how it is going to affect their care as a priority, as I gather, is what you're asking. These young girls, young women, they benefit a lot from um, digitalization of health, if you see what I mean.
Right.
Prior to,
Availability of,
prior
yes,
to COVID, we didn't know anything about it.
yes,
I'm sure uh, uh, they were saying that that they've been at it for like 7 years or whatever, but we didn't know, and we never thought that digitalization or telemedicine or even helping or speaking to people regarding their needs and wants over a laptop was okay. Or to prescribe medicine on the phone was okay and acceptable and legal. So I think digital medicine is here to stay. That's one of the plus sides of COVID, is that we have changed ourselves as practitioners. We have moved on, and we now know what are the legalities, legal boundaries, what is safe and what is unsafe to do on apps or phone or whatever. and sort of accept that digitalization is there and move on with it. I suppose accessibility of doctors will be more, and that's what is the hour of the day, need of the day.
Yeah, right, right. Anshu, can we have you? Well, till Anshu comes, yes, Anshu, you're coming from a younger generation where the digitalization has been more meaningful, and I think you people don't have anything beyond the digital or digital world. Um, so here, uh, I would like to know your thing. How do you see yourself? Your mother is also a prominent gynecologist, and you are following her footsteps. So where do you see yourself in a difference in the care that you deliver through digital health or through technology? Can you unmute yourself? Yes, it's okay. I can hear you.
Yeah. So I think it starts right from the first question that every obstetrician and gynecologist ask. Like, you ask a patient when was her last period. The first thing you like, just let me check the app what the date was. So it has become so integral in every aspect, from the patient taking noting her period, because nobody remembers dates anymore. It's just all in an app, to the patient remembering medication, to taking appointments. Most of them prefer to take through apps or appointment based services. And all of this has become extremely integral. And we as practitioners have had to update ourselves and increase our social media presence to just get patient awareness and to get them to come for follow up, to understand the importance. It has become so integral from the first step that they take towards their care. And even like I've had to change like the seniors and all that we were working with, we've had to change their attitude regarding, especially COVID. It took us towards Zoom consultations, so many things that just from the step to the end, technology has become too integral for us to ignore.
Right. Yes. Shivani, would you like to add something to it?
Yes, definitely. Nowadays the entire life, if you see, revolves on your phone. Everything you do is access of information is from there. And as I practice fertility, so even to get pregnant now, people use the phone because they have apps, so they keep tracking their cycle. They know when they are ovulating, they know their fertile period. The app tells them to what are the symptoms you have to watch out for and everything. Secondly, what has happened is the world has become a smaller place. So because of this, we have so many people who travel from abroad also to come to India. So even for those patients, it is absolutely impossible unless you have some kind of a Zoom consultation. You speak to them, you explain to them how the procedure goes and everything. But at the end of the day, if after everything that there is digitization, nobody can replace your actual clinical acumen. So whatever information you may get online or you may get from a patient, sometimes it is really important that you have to do the ultrasound yourself, you have to check things yourself, because only when you have that clinical feel and the judgment, maybe some cases are really solvable only at that time. So digitization is here to stay, and the whole life revolves around it. There is no question about that. The rural areas also have access now so easily because the phone has reached the smallest of the town or the villages that you may call. So now access has become universal. So that is something really, like, it has brought about an explosion of access now.
The use of a holistic approach to a problem. For example, if somebody comes who needs a kind of a nutrition support, who needs a kind of a exercise support, we have so many conditions that we need non-gynac support. Sometimes a little, so not the exact clinical care and a little beyond clinical care. There, do you think Then what's your take on that, Shivani? How, do you think that digitalization really helps in uh, like getting an access to these kind of ancillary services or
Yeah, I think digitalization is absolutely a boon. It is a blessing for these kind of ancillary services because you see today's lifestyle. I mean, for us, it is absolutely impossible that you take the time to reach from point A to point B and then to get something. So unless like it is like you're physically going to get operated or you're physically going to have some procedure done on you, if you need some counseling, I mean, digitalization is the savior because these people probably would never have accessed it. And you know, our most famous saying goes, let thy food be thy medicine. So, in so many of our problems, it is actually a matter of the correct diet, whether it's an endometriosis diet or a PCO diet. It is a matter of lifestyle changes which are going to give you the best possible solution. The treatment is in your hand. It empowers the patients to take charge of their problem. It takes off their dependency of maybe medication, which could potentially even have side effects. So these ancillary services are today we cannot really imagine practice without them.
right? So I think
If
do you
I
agree,
if I may
Anshu?
chip in, if I may chip in, Sudeshna, just for a second, is that
Yes.
I myself cheat a little bit with digitalization with patients in a PG clinic when they ask for some, something non-clinical advice or even maybe clinical, but I'm too busy. I sometimes tell them to look in the YouTube. You'll see a lot of stuff on this. Then come back to me and we'll discuss it. And you will be next. I do that.
Yes, every one of us, because we are
And
time
even I have sent I have actually accessed yoga channels and stuff. All of us have fitness channels on YouTube and stuff like that. I send patients link of those because I have seen them and they're quite good. So I have no issues of sending them links and look up this link. This is good for you. You know.
Yeah, that's exactly what Gytree is. Giving them, uh, giving all of us, all the gynecologists around us, to an opportunity to access the ancillary services and to give them a holistic approach. I think the patients also, the women, when they come in, don't you think, Sushmita, they come in with an expectation that you will be taking care of everything that
Everything.
needs. Yes. And that is
You,
their expectation.
it is. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
So whereas we are
And they're a
really
little bit
not.
disappointed when we say that, no, look, I'm not an expert on this. You maybe have to go to Shivani for a fertility problem. I'm really not a fertility expert. They are very disappointed. These things happen. Yes.
Yes. So here that's exactly what Gayatri is aiming for, that we have gynecologists all over to kind of have a platform where we can give them that, go for the ancillary services that you need. So, and, uh, when you're taking charge as the gynecologist, because the patient comes to you thinking that you are in charge of their health, and we are really taking charge of your health through the ancillary services. That's where they feel really satisfied, isn't it, Shivani? Anshu, do you agree?
Today's day and age, we're all very busy, and if the patient obviously comes to you for a complete treatment, because they don't, moment you send them to someone else, you end up losing them to follow up. So if they can get everything together at one place from a reliable source that is recommended by the primary doctor, then that obviously will be more beneficial to them and more acceptable to them as well. Also, I think
Take
that's
it
what
from
makes
there.
it a unique thing, that it is reliable, it is you as a gynecologist, they're able to access it even when they are like on the way of the work or anywhere they are. Just like this Zoom is helping us to connect, it helps them to connect to their doctor faster.
Right, right. And at their own timing. It's not always, when you give them, when you nudge them with something which you have to do it at a specific time, they always fail as women because we are multitaskers. We are doing so many things at a time. I think delivering them at their own pace is something which is really helpful to women. Shivani,
Yes, and also what has happened is that because there is so much now social media and everything, mental health problems have really exploded. Because although there is a positive side, there is always a negative side. And if you go to a site like Gytree, I mean, I was just going through and reading, it is so comforting. It is so comforting to know that there are, that my problems, other people are experiencing, they know about these problems, they have a solution for these problems. You may not feel alone or mental health or feel trolled about your problems. It is such a safe, secure, warm, and very uplifting experience. So that is really one of the USPs that you are offering through this.
we are all offering. Gayatri is for all of us. I think it is that the whole point of me being in Gayatri is to make it credible as the most preferred digital platform by the gynecologists. So we are all into it. It's not
Exactly, and if you want to make it the most preferred, your customer experience, the person who actually goes through it, has to get that very positive, very safe, and comforted feeling experience, and that is exactly what is being given here.
right. Thank you. So this, can you tell me, coming back to technology? Let me start with Anshu. Do you think any kind of a device or any kind of a technology that you think can change? Because this is a thought leadership space. This is, I think we'll have to put our brains in and develop more and more strategies, technical strategies to aid women's health. I'm sure, can you think about some kind of a technological help, or any one of you?
There are we can include different aspects, like there are already there on Gytree, of course, but also like contraceptive options and their reminder of when to get a removal, when to get a do. Like we can include it as a part, or like make a reminder sort of a thing that that you get pop-ups and alerts of to take care of your mental Gynaec and all health, and make that also a part of this technology to get reminders and pop-ups, and that
Nudges,
very
nudges.
busy, like we get alerts on Instagram, and we should be able to get health alerts as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
health alerts, like if you have put a Mirena in, it should come out in 5 years. And
Yeah.
if you have to take a pill every night, the app should remind you something. Another suggestion that I have, Sudheshna, is I was going through the app, and there are a lot of diseases to read about: endometriosis, PCOS, this and that. Maybe it was always my wish after I came back from England to do support groups. This might be a very good platform to have support groups of women.
Oh, we have, yes.
They have there.
We have a community of PCOS, women and skin
Yeah,
health. We
and
have women in hair issues.
those are common things like PCOS and all that. A lot of women suffered. Maybe if you you will find quickly. But I'm talking of support groups of women who have had sexual abuse, who have had domestic violence, who don't know where to speak out, who are scared to speak out. One, and the other ones are the support groups of women who have lost children, who have had stillbirths, and these kind of things. It's very, very helpful if you talk to somebody, and not a doctor, who is not a counselor, not a psychologist, but somebody who suffered the same as you. It is always, it feels like it's like a warm blanket around you to know that I am not the only one. When you feel very lonely, it gives you that warm comfort in that somebody else is there who can talk about this. They have undergone the same thing as a person or as a couple. So those support groups maybe might be a part of that integral part of your app that would, I think, in the long run, maybe not immediately, but in the long run really might help people, because that actually is very important. I think sometimes very sad that we can't provide it actually.
That's wonderful. I think that's a great suggestion, because we have all practiced in England, and we have seen that how these support groups really uplift them, like the coping strategies that these women or couples suffer. So, Shivani, can you add
Yeah,
on
I
to
wanted to
anything?
highlight that there are certain things that come out new. For example, there is a new now vaccine which is coming for cervical cancer. So you should maybe as an app, whenever there is something new, not only in India, anywhere in the world. Now there are certain apps which have come in fertility. Also, there are certain devices which have come in fertility. So maybe our platform can have a critical appraisal. So whenever you read in the newspaper there is a vaccine, you think whether this is for me or not. Let me go to Gytree and check what does Gytree say. Should I get the vaccine? Should I not get the vaccine? When should I get it? And so anything that is topical, that is being spoken about, should have a critical appraisal so that the person can immediately log on and then see what it says and make a decision whether they should get it or not.
Wonderful, wonderful suggestions. Yeah, that's why I love you all. For these are things that we actually, these are the issues that we need to address, and the confusions, the kind of the the new areas, as everybody of you have said. And thank you very much for your contribution, for very, very effective dialogues that we are having today. uh, Last but not the least, things, uh, I think when we talk about changing the dialogue in gynecological health, I think insurance is one chapter where uh, we need to talk about, especially starting with Shivani, because the fertility is not covered by insurance. And I feel that this is I mean, anyways, what is your opinion on this?
Fertility has been defined by WHO that it is a disease, and insurance unfortunately has taken a step back from covering any aspect of fertility. And even for the patients, if they have to go to a government setup, what people don't realize is that they actually bear the cost of injection. For example, here also, when government started offering fertility treatment, patients had to pay 60,000 rupees initially just for the injections, even though it was the procedure was absolutely free. So it is a huge financial burden on the patients, and there are not even any private players who then came to try and offer these services. Also have not really been very effective at all in offering. So today you are on your own, you are completely left out you have a fertility issue. And the core thinking that goes is that a country which has a population problem should not have a policy for people who to have more children. But really, that is not the solution, because the people who are infertile are not, considered to be kind of an outcast in this country. They also have a equal right to treatment, and we must consider it in a broader perspective. So definitely, our even the medical associations have been campaigning for insurance policies, but somehow the success has not come yet. And unless this broader thinking changes, Dr. Sudeshna, there is a for insurance, you have to change this mindset and this broader thinking that as a country, we don't need fertility treatments.
Yeah, and the attitude also changes. The as you're talking about the broader thinking, I think these policies or these insurance, when they were made at one point of time, they were all by men and for men mainly. not keeping women. Otherwise, I don't see a reason why pregnancy is not covered, or pregnancy is covered by a very embarrassing amount in insurance, as
Yeah.
if pregnancy is not a health condition,
And
as
as
if the
if
woman
pregnancy
has,
men has nothing to do with pregnancy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and as if the woman has no health risk while carrying on the pregnancy.
Correct.
So that is something which we need to talk more and more about it. And I feel this is a dialogue that needs a separate discussion. But I thought today, if we don't talk about insurance, we will leave it incomplete, because the more we recognize the insurance validity for women's conditions, especially around fertility and pregnancy, the more we kind of recognize that yes, these women are, uh, you know, that we are recognizing women as individuals and important individuals.
Actually, it even
Anshu.
extends to postmenopause, post fertility also. Somehow, most insurance companies only cover short term problems, not long term problems. We've had this problem where a patient has had heavy bleeding for a very long time, say 2 years. They don't realize in India, for a woman to come for a surgical procedure or a treatment requires a long process, lot of relatives, lot of force. So that may end up delaying and her problem being prolonged. So you cannot write that the problem was prolonged, because then that does not get covered. So that also has to be considered, that it is not the duration of the complaint but the complaint that the patient has, and it is different for every patient. So that should also be included as a part of the insurance. Of
I
course,
agree
Yes.
with
fertility.
what you're saying. Anshu is a very good point, because it's silly sometimes what these insurance people are expecting the doctors to write on the prescriptions. Are they asking us to write the wrong thing, or are
Yeah.
they expect the patients to say something not the truth? They've suffered for 5 years and had the insurance for 3 years. Please write 3 years. Why? You know, these things. Otherwise, I won't get the claim. That sort of thing is there all the time. It's just absolutely. You have the problem now. You're going to get the treatment now. The insurance has
Yeah.
to provide the treatment. That's simple as that.
Yes. So I think we as gynecologists, in terms of in Gytree also, we will try and um, move the dialogue towards having more insurance base for women. So overall, what is your last point of how gynecology has transformed in this modern world of uh, going more into the root cause of it and giving it a holistic care? So, starting with Sushmita. Sushmita, I mean,
Oh,
what
you're
is
throwing me
your
off the deep end now. Your question is holistic, so I'll try to answer it holistically. Is our specialty with respect to gynecology and obstetrics both? I think apart from women live longer now. Uh, Beyond 50, life begins at 50, 60, or whenever you want it to begin. None of us say to our moms that sit at home and don't. I ask my 80-year-old mom to wear skirt and t-shirt and go out. I encourage her.
yes,
That's what we should do, because we'll be her age soon, and we would not like to sit at home. You see what I mean? So all the more we live and the more we enjoy life, there will be problems. At part physical problems will be there, menopausal problems, pregnancy related issues when people are younger. Mental health problem is a big issue. The I don't know how many of you have noticed who practice general gynecology is, if you have 10 patients in your clinic, 6 of them will have some sort of a mental health issue that you can, even without having that training, you can put a finger and say something is wrong with this lady, which she needs to take opinion of a counselor or a psychiatrist or something.
yeah,
And nothing is gynecologically wrong with her. So the way we look at patient, I think, has changed or should change. She is not like a PCO, endometriosis, fertility, cancer, not or menopausal problem or like that. As we tell our students, we've always told our students, look at the patient as a whole, offer her what she wants, and what she, not sometimes what she wants, but what she needs, because that's what you're trained for. Gently nudge them towards what she needs and try to throw a dialogue with them. They'll come and tell you, I've heard this in Google and that is right, this is wrong. But try to, uh, go into a dialogue and a sense of participation, that look, I'm on your side, and then together we take this decision whether you need medicine or not need medicine, whether you need physical, some in exercise regimen or whatever regimen. Take all those things, gynecology should take all those things into their purview of their practice. They should know about physical treatment, physiotherapy, yoga. All those things help women, not medicine.
Yes.
It is
And
not
even if
always medicine that help women. These things do help women. Meditation do help women, men, I'm sure both, because we are talking of women, I'm talking of men. These things do help. So unless we believe it, we won't be able to tell other people to believe it, right?
Oh, yes. The holistic approach, that's exactly what today's conversation is, that, having a dialogue beyond gynecology, a comprehensive care beyond gynecology. It's your exactly what you say, that when a woman comes to you, it is not a PCOS. She's not a PCOS. She's not an endometriosis. She is a woman with problems which need a holistic approach. And that's why, uh, as a gynecologist, if we take charge and have the expertise in the other fields where they can be guided, I think that will give our women a far better way of looking at themselves or looking at their treatment. And they will respond, their response to treatment is also would be higher. Shivani, your message or your take on this change and the role of a holistic. Anything to add?
Change is inevitable. It is always going to happen, and we deal with the half of the population. And in India, we have, UN FBA says we have now the largest number of births happening in the world. Anywhere between 2.5 to 3 crore babies are born every year. Women are living longer. There is cancer survivors. Post women are more career conscious. Women are undergoing more of mental health issues. There are so many pregnancy related complications which have come, and the younger generation, because of physical inactivity and change in their food habits, has completely changed to a unrecognizable generation from our time. So many changes have happened, and with that there is a need for our practice also to change and become more and more holistic, and access to reach the interiors of each and every village. Tomorrow, somebody in a rural area of India could be scrolling through Gytree because they don't have access. They are not able to go anywhere to speak to someone, but they want some solution for their problem. So definitely there has been a huge change. Some of it is for the positive, and I think in general we are absolutely going in the right direction with all the discussion we've had so far.
Great. Anshu?
I think what everybody said is very valid point. Actually, in fact, speaking of the holistic approach, I once had a online consultation with the patient. She said, "Ma'am, there's nothing wrong with me. I just wanted to talk to you." So it has really broadened us and forced us to look at other aspects. Secondly, most of us working in metros and big hospitals, we do have patients from the periphery. So who may not, who have to travel 3 hours, 4 hours just to get to the center. So this digitalization has improved our access to them. So I would say, sum up to this, that one, it is a balance between your clinical knowledge and digiting and incorporating them into your practice. And this digitalization has brought the patient from our door to us to their door. So that has been a big thing that is.
Yes. And it has, as I say, that it hasn't been easier to get the kind of overall management that we really need to give them. It hasn't been so easier without, I mean, it has been easier only with digitalization and with platforms like Gytree, where we are getting the ancillary services and ways to their treatment. Any points that you want to make other than what we have spoken?
You
I think
could
we have spoken.
maybe have an SMS service where people can subscribe to you and you can send them an SMS to remind them, for example, in pregnancy to take their medication, or when it is time for them to have a pap smear, or if they have put a Mirena, it is time for them to get a checkup. So if patients want to
Reminders and
subscribe,
nudges, yes.
you can set them SMS or an alert that this is the time to, I get it from my hairdresser. He sends me, oh, 1 month now, time to do your touch up. So maybe there is something you can have as an
Yes,
SMS to send as a
maybe
reminder.
yes.
Why not? I think it's very useful. It's very useful. It's part of
Yes.
our lives, yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
And everybody is busy. There's no need to think that the woman who's in the village is less busier than us. She's probably more busy than us because she has to do 10,000 other things.
Yes, it is time for your vaccination, or it is time for your child's vaccination. You must take now today. So that is something that can be, put you in touch with like millions of users.
Yes. We are already in the process doing it, and we are. That's exactly what this kind of a discussion is, to bring out new elements and to kind of incorporate all the broader thinkings into the platform, and into finally to uplift the women's health. We all are passionate about it. We are all practicing gynecologists with a passion which is beyond gynecology, and that's exactly what we had a dialogue today for. Thank you very much for attending and taking your time out for such a lovely conversation. And we hope to have more and more conversation regarding femtech, regarding digitalization, and regarding technology and accessibility of healthcare for women. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.